Lemon Tree Premier, which is located in Dwarka, Gujarat. So this hotel is located approximately 1 kilometer from the main Dwarkadish temple and 2 kilometers approximately from the railway station. Talking about the airport connectivity, I think the nearest airport is Jamnagar, but again Jamnagar has the limited flights, so you have to go to Rajkot, which obviously it takes 4.5 to 5 hours to reach to this hotel or Dwarka in general, right? Talking about the location in general, I think this is located in the heart of the city, so everything is nearby, the temple is nearby, so you have markets and restaurants also nearby this hotel. So obviously definitely this hotel has a location advantage compared to some other properties which are very far away and which takes time to travel to the main temple or to the city, right? So I visited this property from 30th April to 2nd May with my wife and parents. So we had booked 2 rooms. Obviously we didn't book in Lemon Tree Premier, we booked in Hawthorne Resort, but I'll cover that experience in a separate. So we had to check out from that hotel on the same day and we had to find this hotel. And so I didn't had a prior booking for this. I actually just called up the property and booked it on the spot and just paid on the reception. I think this is the first time where I didn't book a property, I just called the reception and went straight away, and then I just paid and everything. So I'll cover my overall experience. I don't want to make this video longish. So for Hawthorne and what happened on that day and how we wasted our day just because of that stupid property. So I'll just cover in that video. So let's talk about check-in experience. So check-in experience, obviously it went more in, let's say, the completing the payment formalities and all those kind of things. So good part was that in the price that we paid, they actually upgraded us to the executive room that they had. And we also saw the room first because the experience in the previous property was really bad. So I personally went and kind of checked the room with my wife, and a couple of rooms they showed us, so that was a good part. And then again we checked some other properties like Regenta and all also, but finally I went ahead for this because this was the best in terms of whatever other properties were available. Okay, so yeah, so check-in may obviously went in the formalities, but yeah, welcome drink, they didn't had a welcome drink. On being asked by my wife, I think they gave us some 7 hours ride, which was not very good. So yeah, check-in experience was around that only. Ambience was fine, the lobby ambience and everything, it was good, so nothing major to complain on. So this hotel is of 9 floors, has 9 floors. So I think we were allocated in 6th floor. The room was on 6th floor. If I remember it correctly, I also don't remember it. I think 6th or 7th, I think it was one of those. Okay, yeah, and it also has a restaurant. Now going to the room experience, so I think room was big in size, it felt airy and it had good furniture and everything, and in the washroom also all the toiletries and everything was available, and shower space was also of decent size, and nothing to complain on the washroom or the toilet experience. And bed also is very comfortable. I think it was really comfortable as compared to what we had in Hawthorne. Obviously that was really bad, so that room was itself claustrophobic, but yeah, this was a welcome change over that, and furniture and everything was good. So the only thing was that I think our locker was not working in the room, so we had to call up multiple times, but again then we didn't kind of use it, so that was one thing that was missing. But yeah, apart from that, all the basic amenities that you would expect from a Lemon Tree property. So this is a 4-star property in a way, so everything was available, right? So that was on the room experience. Now talking about the recreation, or I'll just cover the food and beverages first. So talking about the food and beverages, so this amount that we paid for 2 rooms was inclusive of breakfast. So we had breakfast on both the days. The breakfast spread was good, but in a way we didn't like the taste. It was average, right? And they also, to my surprise, didn't have any live counter, so we couldn't order any dosa or uppam. Usually you would expect, like even from a 3-star property nowadays, that they offer a live kitchen, but here there was no live kitchen. And the reason that they stated was that because of the LPG shortage, dosa and everything, we are not kind of preparing that. And also, to my surprise, in this restaurant we were not allowed to dine in. So only for the buffet breakfast you are allowed. Otherwise, if you want to have dinner, you need to have taken the buffet, otherwise you can't order a la carte, which is very surprising for me. I think this is not been the case with any property. So we were forced to then go out because the buffet also didn't look good, and obviously breakfast experience was not good. So in a way, we were forced to go out and explore other restaurants which were not very good. So in a way, we didn't had good food in our stay at Dwarka. So that was one thing that I want to highlight. And they are okay to kind of send to your room. I'm not sure. So the in-room dining is there. You can order from your room, but if you want to kind of sit in the restaurant and order, then the reason that they gave was that if you kind of do that for you, then बाकी लोग भी आ जाएंगे, उनको भी हमें cater करना पड़ेगा. So भाई आपको cater तो करना ही पड़ेगा ना, room में भी you are catering, so why don't you want to have everyone in the restaurant? So I didn't understand that logic. That completely मेरे सर के ऊपर से चला गया वो logic क्या था. And again, in-room dining, we ordered, I think for brunch we ordered something, so it was fine. I think I also post some images of the menu so you can get a sense on the price that was there, so for your reference. So that was pretty amazing, pretty surprising. Like वो जो आपको dine नहीं करने दे रहे, that was actually pretty surprising, and that was the main, I think, the con I would say of this property. This is my experience from 30th April to 2nd May. So obviously things might evolve once the clarity of this LPG and everything comes out. But yeah, I think other properties are also offering, so nothing special with this, so I'm not sure why they were doing this. Okay, so now talking about the recreation, I think they had a good recreation setup. So they have a proper gym, so no one was working out when I saw that, but they have some machines and all. And apart from that, they also had a pool. So on the pool, I think they said when we were checking in that they had did some recent coating on the base of the pools. Because of that, the water might not be very clear, so it might be some yellowish color. Though on visual inspection, I couldn't find that, but yeah, if there's some chemical floating around in water, you don't want to take a dip, right? So that was another thing that was there, but we couldn't use the pool. So overall it was fine, but we couldn't use that. And thirdly, the highlight was that they had a games area. In the games area, you had a dedicated person who was actually helping you out with the rules and everything also. If you don't know how to play a particular game, so let's say they had pool, and surprisingly they also had air hockey, which I didn't find in many properties. And then they had a carom board also, and then a couple of more board games. So the room was good, so that was a good ad that they had these kind of things like in their property, and also someone to kind of help you out. So that was definitely a thumbs up from my end. Now, yeah, I think that was it in terms of the. So yeah, I'll talk about the price I paid. So obviously just don't go by my word. So because I booked it at the last moment and I was in a situation where I definitely wanted my stay. So the price that they offered me was 5,500 per room per day. So in a way it was 22,000 for 2 rooms for 2 days inclusive of breakfast. And then we tried to take some additional discount on food and beverages as well, which you definitely get on MMT. If you book through MMT, you get 20% flat. But I think MMT prices are way higher than what the property was offering us. So it's not always that in all these websites you get good prices, right? When you talk to the hotel directly, sometimes you get good prices there, but obviously vice versa is also true. So I would definitely recommend that before booking any property, you can just check directly with the property. But there are some advantages if you book through these platforms, because you can actually post a review. They are in between you, so they are a mediator, right? So there's always advantages. But yeah, I think monetary value is also some of the advantages that you can't ignore. So on our part, I think this was slightly a good deal that we got, considering it was lemon tree and the location that it had. So 22,000 for 2 rooms, 2 days. It was the deal. It was a good deal according to me, and better than that we were getting in Hawthorne, and then we had to kind of leave that property in a couple of hours. Right? So that is the whole story I'll just cover in the next video. Yeah. So in all, my take would be that if you're traveling to Dwarka for especially kind of visiting the temples and all, so this is a good property to consider. It is nearby to the main attractions, and then you don't feel secluded, right? And it also has recreation. So I forgot to mention that it also has spa. So we didn't kind of get time to kind of experience that, but yeah, they have spa. So you can actually consider that as well. So it is a good blend of recreation, plus the only disadvantage I saw was that restaurant thing, which they were not allowing us to dine in, and then food quality was also pretty average. It was not very good. So this particular part, I think restaurant experience they can improve on, and apart from the room experience, amenities, everything was, I think, fine according to me. And you could definitely consider this property and could directly call the property to kind of book if you're not getting a good deal on MMT and other sites. So yeah, that was pretty much my review. If you have any further queries or comments or thoughts, feel free to kind of drop in your queries in the comment boxes. I will be happy to help. Bye. Thank you. Take care.